Hello and welcome back to the channel. This is Zip here to bring you more crypto news as we travel through this journey and experience the greatest wealth transfer in history, or the possibility for you to have the greatest wealth transfer in history, to take advantage of these technologies, of these assets that are modernizing the financial system. Whether you can see it or not, that's what's happening. Get in, dig in, do your homework, research. Don't just depend on content creators, although YouTube University is phenomenal. With that, I hope everyone is doing fantastic out there. I hope your mindset is on lock. You're loaded. You're ready for a fantastic day, a fantastic week, because that's what we expect. Now, with that, continue to be safe. We're going to talk about some hygiene, some cyber hygiene, some things you can do with wallets today. We're going to talk a little bit about XRP and what is going on, big macro picture that I always like to talk about. Now, please do me a favor. This week, I'm doing an interview with Caleb and Brown. I want to ask them the questions that you have. So please, in the comments, and I'm going to mention this throughout the week, leading up to Thursday when I do the interview with Jim, drop your comments. Let me know what you would like me to ask Caleb and Brown. Do you have questions about insurance? Do you have questions about, the platform? How much the fees are, as examples? Please drop those in the comments. I want to do service to you all out there. I've been using Caleb and Brown as another environment to purchase these digital assets. But again, that'll be Thursday. Drop them in the comments. Let me know. All right? Now with that, do you really comprehend and understand what you own when you own these assets like XRP, XLM, HBAR, XDC? I hate to start naming them because there's so many phenomenal projects. You, at the end of the day, have to decide which ones you think are going to benefit you the most for your family, for your future. Again, digital assets, is there risk? Absolutely. There's risk in the stock market. There's risk in every investment. And I'm not giving investment advice, financial advice I'm not giving. We're just having a conversation. But do you understand the potentiality of where these markets can go with everything that we discuss day in and day out of the transformation of the financial system? You literally own, if we're talking about XRP as an example, you own a slice, a piece, a percentage of everything, all the liquidity that'll be flowing through these markets as utility starts to come in. Millions, and then trillions, and then quadrillions of dollars and transactions, which is going to dictate and have to have these assets at a higher price. The higher the price, the better the liquidity, the better the flows, the better the transactions, the faster that it can happen. But get that inside of you, what you own. I say it time and time again, but then I hear folks talking about owning these things and they think it's, it's not necessarily a lottery ticket. It's not a lottery ticket. You have to be patient in this environment, but you own a percentage of that as compared to owning stocks. Many of you have 401ks. Many of you probably have brokerage accounts. When you own a stock, you own a piece of that company. Okay? And they are selling off some of their company to what? Create capital so they can build the company. They're utilizing your money. In this instance with digital assets, You own the technical stack that the companies are using to manage the environment, the inflows, the outflows, the tokenization. Ladies and gentlemen, tokenization is absolutely going to be huge. And I was just reading an article and looking at rwa.xyz. You can go out there and you can look at this stuff and research it yourself, and looking at the inflows and the tokenization over the last 30 days. Do you realize that XRP is up about 52% with $180 million of tokenized assets? Again, for those of you that are new to this channel, welcome, thank you. Hit the subscribe buttons. Tokenization is taking a real world asset like real estate, a house, and they're taking and putting that on the blockchain, on the ledger, that real world value. If a house is worth $100,000, they're taking that house and moving it into the blockchain, which where in the future, and we're seeing this already, you'll be able to buy pieces and parts of condos in different areas. Dubai as an example. But tokenization is up. XLM has $450 million worth of tokenized assets on their network that you own if you own a piece of XLM. Treasuries, bonds, tokenized to create more efficiency, to create dollar dominance. That's why the Genius Bill was so big. That's the macro, that's the big picture. Yes, owning these technologies is awesome, but understanding where this is going in the future will help build your exit strategies if you decide to exit. And we talk about that. You don't want to exit too early before all of this tsunami of liquidity and capital will come on chain, which will mandate a higher price. Notice, I'm not saying what that price will be. I just know it's going to go higher. You can go to other content and they'll tell you where they think their expectation of where they think these tokens are going to go. But with that, tokenization is occurring in all of these networks. Absolutely huge. You know, you have to, in this environment, you have to maintain your own self-agency is really what it comes down to. No one can make a decision for you. No one can give you the knowledge. We can try to express it. We can try to provide a little bit of concrete evidence. But the capability really is in you as an individual, you know, to act independently and evaluate and make their own choices and exert control over your own decisions and actions of dipping your toe and coming into these environments and allowing a little bit of risk in a portfolio for possible amazing profits and gains. The responsibility at the end of the day is on you, it's on me, to understand where this environment is going. So much is going on. We are still waiting. And again, we're going to talk about hygiene and how to be safe in this environment now, transition a little bit. But we're waiting on the last pieces, the Clarity Act, to come through to define the framework. We had the 166-page document, you know, on crypto released from the administration. That was a combination of the SEC, the CFTC, the OCC, and other folks and businesses telling us where this future is going with digital assets. I cannot emphasize that enough. Now, we talk about being safe all the time. I hope you have hung out until the end here because this is important. How can we be safe in this environment? And I've realized sometimes I'm talking at a level because I understand certain things, so I'm going to try to water things down as much as possible. Wallet maintenance. okay? First thing is we buy these assets and we buy them on exchanges. I assumed and think and understood that most folks understood just because you buy them on Uphold, buy them on Kraken, buy them on Caleb and Brown. Drop the comments in there about what questions you want asked. That it was well understood by everyone that you're not locked into that exchange and keeping your assets there. You can move them to your own non-custodial wallet, like a ledger device, like a web wallet. But before you do that, let's talk back about the exchanges. Exchanges, please ensure that you have 2FA established for your exchange logins, two-factor authentication. Now, there's a couple ways to do that. You can have the exchange send you an email and they'll send you a passcode, which is not the most secure way. Or you can have an authentication device like Google Authenticator or a YubiKey that you can tie to that exchange login. And basically when you log in, it's going to challenge you for that authentication code. It's a little 6-digit code that it's going to spit out, and it changes every minute. Please turn on two-factor authentication in some way, some form, not just on your exchanges, but really on your email accounts. In all environments, your banks have two-factor authentication turned on. Very, very important, and it just adds a layer of defense to prevent against these stupid scammers that are trying to attack you and attack us and get these assets because they know how valuable these things are. If you don't understand two-factor authentication, just do a quick Google search. Go out to ChatGPT. We have AI at our hands to be able to assist us validate the information. AI is not always correct, but turning 2FA on is important. Now, secondly, moving your assets to your own wallet. We've talked about hardware wallets. Look in the library, my library. I've talked about hardware wallets. I've done videos on web wallets. When you move those assets into a cold wallet, like a ledger device, like a Decent device, like a Trezor, there's multitudes out there. Find which one you're comfortable with. I have them all. You basically are adding another layer of defense, because within those cold wallets, you have your passphrases, 24-word passphrases, generally speaking, the ones that I use. If it's a web wallet, you may have a 12-digit or 12-word passphrase. But those passphrases are your keys, your private key that's protecting your assets in a non-custodial environment. You cannot do any transaction. Folks can send things to that wallet all that they want, all the time, but you cannot send anything out. You cannot even, if you're staking, you have to utilize that device to accumulate your staking rewards. You're going to go through a signature, and it's going to authenticate with that device. Vitally important. Get your stuff off the exchanges. Have a cold wallet environment. If you want to additionally secure it, come up. Many of these devices allow a 25th word passphrase, a hidden account, if you would, that only you have access to. So even if someone were to get hold of your 24 words, they don't have that 25th word. And obviously, out of a security conscious mind, you don't keep all these things in the same location. You separate them. But you keep that 25th word up in the noggin, something that you memorized. Security is paramount in this environment. But that's how you secure these assets. Cold wallets, web wallets. Please drop in the comments if you don't understand the difference of what I'm talking about. Lastly, how do we secure these phones, these devices that we have in our hands to add another layer of security? We've enabled 2FA for all of our accounts. We've got cold storage. There's another thing out there that the scammers and hackers are using called SIM swaps. Every one of your cards has a SIM card in it. Go out to whoever you are using, Verizon, Google, AT&T, and make sure that your number, that SIM card is additionally locked down. Lock your SIM cards down. It's very easy to do that, and it just adds and prevents anybody from being able to SIM swap and take your number, which many of you are using your numbers, not with 2FA, to authenticate into your exchanges, to authenticate even into your bank accounts. Lock them down. Again, use AI, use Google to understand how to do that. We want to keep this environment as safe as possible if you are non-custodial and holding your assets. Those are some tips. Those are some tricks that you can do. I hope all this information, one, keeps you fired up, keeps you looking towards your purpose of where things are going, big picture with these digital assets. And more importantly, I hope if you hung on, that the security aspect that we just got done talking about, you implement today. Do not wait. Start implementing that now so you have a secured environment so we can all make it through this journey, make it to the finish line. Again, whatever you think that finish line is for you, that's your decision. But I appreciate all of you. Love the likes. Put the comments in the video about Caleb and Brown and what questions you want me to ask Jim, as we'll have that conversation and that interview this Thursday. It will not be a live. I'm just going to record it and then edit it. That works better. The lives sometimes, the comments, it's hard to keep up with all the comments as they're scrolling by. But have a fantastic week. Keep your mindset positive. And until next time, Zip is out.